name is Byron Toth. I'm owner-operator of Toth Score More Pro Shop, located here in Scores Fun Center in Painesville, Ohio. I've been bowling for almost 60 years now and drilling bowling balls for almost 50. I'm a world record holder. I have multiple 300 games and an 800 series. And I'm here to talk about bowling. What is duckpin bowling? Well, duckpin bowling is similar to 10-pin bowling. It's primarily played on the east coast of the United States, but obviously it uses a different size pin and a different size bowling ball. The pin in duckpin bowling is only about 9 inches tall, 9.5 inches tall, and about 4 inches in diameter. And the bowling ball is about 5 inches in diameter with a maximum weight of about 4 pounds and has no holes. Duckpin bowling is scored similarly to 10-pin bowling. If you get a strike on the first ball, it's counted the same as a strike in 10-pin bowling. If you get all the pins down on the second ball, it's a spare, and it's counted scored the same way as a spare in 10-pin bowling. But you're allowed a third shot in each frame. If you don't knock all the pins down on the first 2 balls, then you get a third shot, and you just get the total pin count that you knock down on that third shot. The maximum score, the highest score ever recorded in duckpin bowling is 279, where in 10-pin bowling it's been 300. Bowling shoes come in varying styles and price ranges. For the casual bowler, you want to select a shoe that is comfortable, stylish, and cost-effective. Now, the casual bowler will select a shoe like this that has a sliding sole on both shoes. The downside of this is that you might lose a little traction on your non-sliding foot, but this feature allows the shoes to be less expensive. For the more advanced bowler, you'll select a shoe that is also comfortable, but has a sliding sole on the sliding foot and a traction sole on the non-sliding foot. This gives you a little more power going into your slide. For the very competitive bowler, the tournament bowler, you want to select a shoe. Likewise, it has a traction sole on the non-sliding foot, but it also has interchangeable soles and interchangeable heels. When you're bowling in different bowling establishments with different lane surfaces and approach surfaces, or in tournaments, you might need, based on weather conditions, humidity, temperature, you may need to go to a sole that slides less, or a heel that slides less. Cranker style of bowling is a very powerful style. The bowler imparts a lot of revolutions on the ball with a lot of speed, and therefore also a lot of hook. Now, when the bowler throws the ball, he will come around the ball, that's with his fingers, and that imparts the revolutions on the ball. He also rotates his positive axis point more so it's facing him, meaning that the revolutions that he imparts on the ball are perpendicular to the lane bed, and that's what gives the ball its hooking power. Brian will be demonstrating the cranker style. Please note, we've marked the axis point, note where his axis point is on the ball when he releases the ball and how much hook he gets on the ball. Now, the other thing about a cranker bowler is that his timing is a lot later than most other bowlers. He will finish his slide and then come through the ball from behind his back, and that's what imparts all the revolutions on the ball and the power on the ball. I'd like to talk to you today about bowling ball technology different cover stock materials and different core technology, so that to give you more information in order to make a more knowledgeable purchase the next time you buy a bowling ball. First is a polyester bowling ball. It has a polyester cover on it. It has very little surface friction and hooks very little. It's constructed like this on the inside of the ball with a very simple weight plate out near the surface of the ball. The ball doesn't roll real true and has more opportunity to deflect when it hits the pins. Then there's reactive resin urethane bowling balls. They're urethane cover stocks with an additive to it to open up the pores and give the surface more friction. So these balls hook more than polyester bowling balls. They also come with more massive cores in the center of them. This is one example. All the cores are a little bit different shapes, but they have different densities. But if you buy a bowling ball with a core that has a lower radius of gyration, meaning more mass is concentrated towards the center of the ball, it will go into a little bit earlier roll than a ball that has a more elongated core and a higher RG rating. If you're a casual social bowler, for the price, a polyester bowling ball is good. If you're an advanced bowler and you want a ball that goes relatively straight when you're shooting spares, a polyester ball is good. If you're a little bit more advanced bowler and want a little bit higher technology, but your ball speed is low, or you bowl on lane conditions that are dry, you would want a pearlized cover stock ball with a higher RG core, a more cylindrical core. These balls will hook a little bit less, they'll go down the lane a little bit straighter before they want to go into their hooking motion. If you throw the ball faster or bowl on conditions that have more oil, you might select a ball that has a solid cover stock, a duller cover stock, and one with a lower RG core to allow the ball to go into a roll a little bit earlier and hook a little bit sooner because of the oil condition you're bowling on or the speed of your bowling ball. Hopefully, with this information, when you go to select a bowling ball, you want to match the bowling ball technology with your style of bowling and with the lane conditions you're bowling on. I'd like to give you some helpful hints on how to make your spares. There are a lot of different systems for making spares. You need to come up with one that is consistent with your game. My personal preference is I'm right-handed. I use the third arrow from the right as my target, my pivot point. When I have a pin, say the 10 pin, it's far to the right, I move my feet far to the left. I throw the ball over the third arrow and allow it to come in and carry the 10 pin out. If the pin is on the opposite side of the lane to the far left, say the 7 pin, I move my feet to the far right. I throw the ball again over the third arrow and I allow it to hook into the 7 pin. Any pin in between, you adjust your feet accordingly. Say the 6 pin, move a little bit back to the right from the 10 pin position, throw the ball over the third arrow and allow it to take out the 6 pin. Some people like to use the 4th arrow. My personal preference is the 3rd arrow, but keep one thing in mind. Straighter is greater. If you have a plastic ball that doesn't hook much, or you have the ability to get a hand position that flattens out the ball and throws it straighter, you'll increase your spare percentage. If you throw the ball straight at the spare, you take all the lane conditioning out of play in that way. Hopefully, this will increase your spare percentage and increase your score. The purpose of throwing a bowling ball in a hooking or curving motion is to increase the entry angle into the pocket in order to increase your strike percentage. The whole reason is, if you threw a straight ball from the very corner of the lane, the most angle you can get into the pocket is about 2 degrees. But with a curve or a hook ball, you can stand a little bit farther to the left, throw the ball out, and let it curve into the pocket, thereby increasing the entry angle into the pocket. The purpose of that is, once the ball hits the pocket, it wants to go back and carry out the 5 and the 8 pin, where if you throw a straight ball, it'll hit the head pin too early and more than likely deflect off to the right and not carry out the 5 pin. Now the way to throw a curve or a hook is to have your hand in the ball such that the thumb is positioned in front of your fingers, fingers down under the ball, and at the point of release you want to rotate the ball so that your fingers are on the side of the ball, imparting a rotation from right to left. As the ball goes down the lane, friction takes over and the ball starts to hook from right to left, and thereby increasing your strike percentage. I'd like to give you some of my personal tips on how to throw and complete a 300 game. I've had a number of 300 games, and here's what's worked for me. First of all, you need to maintain discipline and concentration throughout the game. Focus on the changing lane conditions. In today's environment, the lanes change. You have to stay one step ahead of those changes so that you can keep the ball in the pocket. Once you've reached the 8th or 9th or 10th frame, it gets a little more tense, the adrenaline starts to flow, and you need to focus on one aspect of your delivery that got you this far. It might be hitting your target mark, it might be keeping your ball speed up. Whatever it is, focus on one thing. Don't allow negative thoughts to enter into your thought process. Don't think of failure. Stay positive, and hopefully that will carry you through to your 300 game. Good luck. I'd like to demonstrate to you how to throw a bowling ball properly to get the proper rotation on the ball for the ball to hook on the lane. Imparting the proper rotation on the ball and getting hook on the lane increases your entry angle into the pocket, which increases your probability of striking when you hit the 1-3 pocket. In order to do that, your fingers must, at the point of release, your fingers must be behind your thumb and somewhere on the side of the ball. It doesn't have to be in any particular location. Depends on your bowler style and the lane condition that you're bowling on. But when you release the ball, your fingers must be behind your thumb and on the side of the ball, so that when you come out of the ball, it rotates and it's spinning, it's rotating like this down the lane. When it gets down the lane, the friction takes over and the ball starts to hook into the pocket. Stroker style of bowling is a little bit straighter style, where the ball goes down the lane a little farther before it goes into its roll and hook. It has a little less hook and fewer revolutions. When a stroker throws the ball, his axis is only rotated slightly, where it faces, for a right-hander, faces more to the left-hand side of the lane. His release is more in time with his approach and his slide. So he imparts a little less power on the ball than a cranker would impart. He gets a little bit less hook, but it's a much more controllable style. Spinner style of bowling is best suited for throwing on lanes that are very dry, because the spinner style ball hooks very little. Mainly due to its low track, it's almost spinning like a top, and its increased axis tilt, meaning that the axis points more up in the air as it's going down the lane due to the low track. Rich demonstrates the spinner style. Please note his timing, his hand release, hand position at the point of release, where his axis point is, which is marked with tape on the ball, and the number of revolutions he imparts on the ball.